Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thousands of young, white, British working class girls have been raped, tortured and abused by Pakistani grooming gangs, and yet this minister here refuses to support a full national public inquiry. And what I want to know is, Mr. Speaker, is she part of the cover-up?
It really doesn't. It doesn't deserve a response, and I actually quite like the honourable gentleman. I have spent my entire career helping. I wonder how many victims he has sat and held hands with in court of grooming gangs. How many he's gone round to their house in the morning to get them out of bed, to get them into a courtroom. There is absolutely no way that I would be part of any cover-up. I will do everything I can under a Home Secretary who will do everything she can to make sure that those who are responsible are held accountable.
In a fiery exchange on the floor of Parliament, Conservative MP Lee Anderson confronted Labour's Jess Phillips with a question that has reignited one of Britain's most controversial and emotionally charged issues: the systemic failure to investigate and prosecute grooming gangs, many of which have involved British Pakistani men targeting young, white, working-class girls. Anderson, known for his blunt style and populist rhetoric, challenged Phillips on the Labour Party's perceived silence and reluctance to support a full national inquiry into what he described as one of the most appalling crimes in modern British history. The tension in the chamber was palpable as he raised the issue that has haunted communities from Rotherham to Rochdale and beyond. Why is it, Anderson demanded, that when thousands of our most vulnerable girls, white, working-class British girls, were systematically abused, tortured, and trafficked by grooming gangs, this Parliament and our institutions turned a blind eye for fear of offending political sensitivities? Phillips, the Labour MP for Birmingham Yardley and a prominent voice on women's issues, responded with emotion but avoided directly addressing the demand for a national inquiry. She pointed instead to existing measures aimed at protecting children and survivors of sexual abuse. But critics say her answer fell short of acknowledging the scale and cultural complexity of the crisis. For over a decade, reports have surfaced about grooming gangs composed predominantly of men of Pakistani heritage exploiting teenage girls in towns across England. Investigations have shown that local authorities, police forces, and social services repeatedly ignored the abuse, often out of fear of being labelled racist or Islamophobic. Similar patterns were uncovered in Telford, Oxford, and Huddersfield. Victims, many from broken homes and disadvantaged backgrounds, were dismissed as unreliable or willing participants by authorities, a moral and institutional failure that continues to spark national outrage. Despite the mounting evidence, no nationwide inquiry has ever been conducted to fully investigate the extent of the abuse, the failures that enabled it, and the systemic cover-up alleged by many whistleblowers. The issue sits at the intersection of race, class, and institutional cowardice. While many MPs, including those in Labour, have condemned the abuse, few have been willing to confront the cultural and racial dimensions of the grooming gangs head. Anderson's intervention, while controversial, resonates with a growing number of Britons who feel that the working-class victims have been sacrificed on the altar of political correctness. Calls for a statutory, judge-led national inquiry into the grooming gangs are not new, but they have gained momentum in recent years. Many believe such an inquiry is the only way to ensure accountability, expose the full extent of the abuse, and offer justice to thousands of survivors who have waited far too long. As Parliament grapples with the broader issue of institutional failure, Anderson's clash with Phillips may prove to be a turning point. By forcing the matter back into the national spotlight, he has not only challenged Labour's record on safeguarding, but reignited a debate that cuts to the core of Britain's conscience.
Forgotten in the fields, Farmers in North Yorkshire are facing a growing health crisis. That's according to Health Watch. The rurality of the region makes healthcare access hard. This, combined with the demands of running a farm and stigma surrounding mental health, means farmers here aren't getting the support they need.
Living in a rural area, you're obviously a fair way from a hospital, you're 20 miles from a hospital, same with the doctors as well. And if you ring a doctor up now, you can't just get access that day. You've got to book an appointment, it could be 4 or 5 days. And mental health issues, unlike cancer and a broken leg, where you're seen fairly quickly, are not seen as priority. So people go away at home and they sit and they worry or they drink or they do whatever they're going to do until it gets probably too bad. But if you are struggling, it's seen as a weakness, so you just don't go.
Labour's changes to agricultural property relief is an added financial pressure. This family farm now face paying £300,000 in inheritance tax.
My father never says a great deal, but I know it's preying on his mind. So now we were sort of hoping that after the budget there might have been some concessions coming. It doesn't look like there's going to be. So now we have to get something quickly sorted out to get it turned over and hope he lives 7 years. He's 84. Now he may well do. But when you get to 84, then every day you wake up is a bonus. And I'm not just saying it's me. There's a lot of my friends in the same situation. What we call the clawback would be a sensible solution where you don't pay tax when you're passing it from one generation to another until that generation wants to sell it. And then that's when you'd pay the tax because you would have the cash.
The government is supporting farming communities by investing billions of pounds in the NHS. It also says it's backing British produce, reforming planning rules on farms to support food production and making the supply chain work more fairly. But for now, Health Watch is calling for improved care for those that keep the nation nourished. Anna Riley, GB News.
In the rolling hills of North Yorkshire, a silent crisis is growing. Not among the crops or cattle, but among the farmers themselves. Long hours, physical exhaustion, isolation, and limited access to healthcare are taking a brutal toll on the backbone of Britain's agricultural industry. Speaking to GB News, Andrew Sewell, a local farmer and chairman of the York East branch of the National Farmers Union, FEW, gave a stark and sobering assessment of the reality on the ground. If you are struggling, it's seen as a weakness, Sewell said. So maybe you just don't go. Behind his words lies a worrying truth. Many farmers, facing mounting physical and mental health challenges, are opting to suffer in silence rather than seek help. For a profession built on resilience and self-reliance, admitting vulnerability remains a cultural taboo, one that is costing lives. Mental health statistics among farmers are grim. Studies consistently show that farmers are among the occupational groups most at risk of depression and suicide. Yet, for many, cultural stigma and practical barriers make accessing care nearly impossible. Campaigners are now warning that unless urgent action is taken, Britain risks not only losing its farmers to poor health, but also endangering food security. Calls are growing for mobile healthcare units, specialized rural mental health services, and targeted government funding to address the unique needs of agricultural workers. The government has acknowledged rural healthcare challenges, but has so far delivered few concrete solutions. A patchwork of local initiatives, including farming support networks and rural outreach programs, are trying to fill the gap, but campaigners argue that piecemeal efforts are not enough. As Searle's testimony reminds us, the health of the nation's farmers is not just a rural issue. It's a national one, with implications for food supply, rural economies, and the cultural fabric of Britain itself.